this hour, a rising diplomatic incident has erupted after US immigration and customs enforcement agents attempted to enter Ecuador's consulate in Minneapolis on January the 27th. However, the consulate staff had rapidly blocked the agents, ensuring the safety of Ecuadorian nationals inside. According to reports, an ICE officer was found threatening to grab the staff member who blocked the entry. In response, Ecuador's foreign ministry has filed an official protest with the US Embassy in Quito, demanding the US prevent such incidents in the future. This comes amid rising tensions over President Trump's deportation efforts, including 2 recent fatal shootings by ICE agents, which have sparked widespread protest in the city. The US State Department has yet to comment on the situation. We are now being joined by Dr. Pansara Amarsaranji, who is a Middle East affairs expert who is located in Colombo. Thank you so much for joining us today here on NewsX World. What does this case reveal about the wider impact of US immigration enforcement on international diplomacy?
Precisely. I would say that this is a blatant violation of international legal principles. United States, as a party to Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Immunity, which came into effect in 1961, is obliged to safeguard the privilege which are being granted to the diplomats within the country. So you can't impose your political authority upon the diplomatic staff or any other foreign embassies which are located in your own country, even though those diplomatic staff and these diplomatic missions are located within your state. When you step inside that particular compartment, which is regarded as a part and parcel factor of that particular country, the foreign country. So this is a clear example of international legal violation. And also, if you look at the history of international law for the past few decades, in ICJ's judgment delivered in 1980, International Court of Justice condemned the students' protest movement and storming into American embassy in Tehran, right? And even if you ground yourself on the same precedent, what Washington has done recently with regard to the Ecuadorian consulate in the United States is quite appalling. And in my opinion, it might further deteriorate the relations between Ecuador and the United States.
And we heard how they tried to force entry into the consulate. Could this aggressive immigration enforcement start conflict more openly with international diplomatic norms? And where do you think the line should be drawn?
Well, I think there would be a tremendous contempt from the global south, and mainly coming from countries in the periphery. And imagine that if you suspect something fishy going on within that particular embassy, perhaps you can ask the ambassador to leave the territory rather than simply storming in and stumbling into the embassy compartment. In public international law, there is a term called persona non grata. If the host government believes the diplomat is not a person of credibility, you can ask from the other country, the sending country, to recall him or her from the respective position. But the procedural environment which has been taken place, in particular in this context, is quite pathetic. And there would be a severe pressure from the international community regarding this incident, I'm pretty sure.
And how do you think this incident could influence how other countries view the safety and neutrality in the US?
Of course, I think it's quite a good observation. Now, when you look at the global hierarchy of public international law, it is grounded on something called rule-based order, that order that came into existence after the end of Second World War. We have established international institutions globally with fundamental faith that would provide adequate protection to foster interstate relations. But these kind of petty events can lead to create a distrust among the nations. For an example, we know that the countries in global north, like United States or countries in European Union, who happen to be the founding members of the United Nations, have been adhered to safeguarding those liberal principles, that they are not pariah states in international system. But now this simple incident can be taken as a precedent for another state. Imagine that if a country like North Korea or maybe Iran can do same or something much more worse than this to their diplomats and ambassadors based in their respective capitals, stating that, look, United States has already created the precedent. So this is quite a bad precedent for international law.
Thank you, and don't go too far, as we will join with